is Augustine. I am the editor-in-chief of Cyber Express, and in today's episode of Secure Ripple, we have Zahid, Senior Manager of Data Protection and Security Awareness at Majid Al Futtaim, also known as MA. I think to basically talk a little bit more about Zahid is himself here, so he could probably take us through his journey of 12 years in the space of GRC.
Thank you so much. Pleasure to be here. I come from a background where I have experience, primarily in GRC, working in the retail industry, working in banking industry. And today, I want to take this opportunity to talk about something, that is very close to, I think, everybody's heart and mind. Yes, thank you so much for having me.
So delighted to have you. So Zahid, just let's straight down jump into it. I mean, you are a veteran in this space. You are a leader in cybersecurity, GRC, and right now we are seeing this AI transformation in literally every single space. So how do you think organizations are right now striving to strike that balance between security and innovation and AI governance, especially in this domain right now?
You started with the banger, so yes. I think how I look at it is, when you think of GRC, the governance, risk, and compliance, it is very important that we have a good GRC around AI as well. If you talk about the governance structures in the organization, they should be able to align with what you are doing with your AI. They should be able to provide you the framework for making decisions in the AI space, and will drive your AI agenda forward. Now, from the second part of GRC, which is the risk part, obviously introduction of any new technology, any new space, also introduces, unknown risks. So we have to be on top of our game, continue to see what new risks are being created in this space because of the introduction of AI, and how do we manage it in alignment with the risk appetite of our organization. And then, going to the compliance is, the regulatory landscape is rapidly evolving around AI. Whenever you hear about AI, because AI consumes a lot of data, there is so much regulation around data. So how do you keep in check that you are not, breaching any compliance requirement? You are not, contradicting with any, contractual obligation, legal obligations. So the GRC component in AI is very much similar to GRC, how it is in the traditional landscape, but you need a new hat, new thinking, new mind to address the AI and governance of AI.
Right, right. So we did open up a a Pandora's box.
Yes.
Okay, so subject to that, I mean, there is also governance around AI. I think there are a bunch of countries are also, coming up with AI regulations and policies. Do you think these are the way in which, of course, with the regulation and AI is something that we feel the need of, considering the mammoth scale of deepfake campaigns that have been running around? So, from your decision making standpoint, what exactly do you think are the avenues where we can minimize the risk, and how can AI be regulated more responsibly?
Thank you. I think very important question, and this was the perfect question, to as a follow-up question to your previous one. What can govern, what can control AI is, we have to build, one, our appetite for AI. Second, we have to take a sensible approach towards the AI. It cannot be only on, what do you call it, experimental basis. So one, if you think about doing anything right, you have to go to a framework. So you should have a reference framework to adopt AI, which will obviously bring in efficiency for decision making, which will give you or which will allow you to increase the trust with the stakeholders, whether it is internally in the organization, whether outside with your customers. It will also give you a competitive advantage because you are, abiding by a framework. So you have, your boundaries and your direction. And fourth, it also allows you to be more resilient in case, things don't go right. You always have a plan B, to come back on track. So I would say adopt AI frameworks, and they will guide you forward in terms of how do you whether use AI, or whether you deploy AI, whether you create an AI system, and so on.
Okay. So from an enterprise standpoint, what would your best advice be beyond adopting the right framework?
So one is understand why that framework is something that you are adopting. Why do you want to use AI to begin with? Who are your stakeholders? Have upfront clear communications, clear objectives is very important. Have ethical standards to complement your objectives, and keep the loop of continuous learning and transparency. Transparency is something that somehow gets missed in the AI journey, but it is very important for organizations to last long in the game of AI.
Right. So, to be honest, I mean, you've been in the space for so long. Do you have? I'm pretty sure that you have seen an evolution of GRC, especially in this particular domain. So, if you were to set up like maybe two or three strategies that organizations can take up for best alignment with cybersecurity governance, what all would that be?
So if you talk about aligning with the cybersecurity strategy, in terms of again, as you rightly said, AI governance is different from security governance. So it is very important for us to identify who our stakeholders are. If you try to do something in silos in the organization, which is not aligned with the organizational values, which is not communicated to stakeholders, uh, it will be an experiment that will happen in one part of the organization, and it will die there. For your AI journey to excel, for your AI journey to be beneficial to the organization, to the community, the name of the game is the what do you call it, collaboration with all the stakeholders inside the organization. And I see that working along with the adoption of different frameworks without naming anything to make you successful. Uh,
Got it.
because if you think about sorry, I'm just continuing.
It's okay. Yeah.
The fire, or the fuel that gives the power that AI has is all data, and when it comes to data, you need to have good, governance around your data. And when you talk about data governance, you need to have good protection of your data. So it's a complete chain that each, what should I say, piece in the chain kind of contributes to the success of the organization and of the function itself.
Great, great. But well answered. I think that definitely comes from your experience. So another topic that we thought we would discuss is supply chain. In fact, I think last couple of years has been one of the avenues where we are seeing tremendous amount of data breaches that are happened due to maybe misconfiguration, maybe some sort of a third party issue, or vulnerability that's getting exploited. Any of these reasons. So from a growing problem around supply chain, what what are your best strategy forward, especially if a management wants to integrate, the governance and risk frameworks within their system?
Thank you. You have picked, the right points for this conversation. These are, whether fortunately or unfortunately, burning points. The supplier security, how it was conventionally looked at, is it's not my problem. It's your problem, or it's someone else's problem. However, in the interconnected world that we operate in, it has become very difficult to draw boundaries on where you feel that this is my boundary and I am protected. That's not the case anymore. We use, with the adoption of cloud, this has increased in the supply chain attack, with the dependency on external vendors, to serve you. It has increased, the supply chain attack, as you rightly said, from misconfigurations, from something happening at your third party, because the accountability of protecting your data, accountability of protecting the reputation of your brand remains with you. Yes, you may have outsourced some of the responsibility, functionality, operations, execution, but the accountability remains with you. So it is very, very important that organizations, focus on how do they deal with these third parties, right from vetting them, onboarding them, managing the relationship, and then ultimately offboarding them. So it is very important that, again, going back to the framework. So if you have, a life cycle of understanding of how these third parties come into your ecosystem. You have a process built for it, right from the RFX request. When you go to a vendor and tell them that, hey, listen, I have a need, can you fulfill that need? Right from how do you assess their security posture, how do you implement controls, how do you reflect them in the contract, how do you ensure that you have provisions within the contract that allow you to monitor the security posture of your third parties. How do they communicate to you in case there is a weakness identified, a breach identified at their end? And then ultimately, how do you manage them, and how do you offboard them after the engagement? So managing that according to the processes that you build is a way forward, that can help risk professionals and CISOs and security practitioners, or privacy practitioners, addressing supply chain risk.
Well said. To add to this, to continue this, there are also instances where my vendor is the one who's breached. So that is a problematic area. And how is there any regulation, or is there any way of monitoring that? Or
Uh,
how do we impose our third party to ensure that the mandatory checks are being done by their end?
as I said, about different stages of a vendor life cycle. So there are, one solutions also that help you. So again, in today's day and age, if people think that they can, they have to reinvent something, they have to invent something, start from the scratch. No, there are technology solutions that give you those out of the box questionnaires. There are technical solutions that monitor the security posture of your third parties, on continuous basis, and provide you instant reports, instant alerts if something is right, something is wrong. So people need to perform some research, do some market research, and benefit from these technological solutions, that perform these security assessments on continuous basis, and also point in time when you want to, based on your custom questionnaires. So that is what I would say, that build your process, use technology, and take it forward from there.
Great, great. So I think everything usually comes back to having a security first mindset, even within organizations. So, in your words, could you just share your experience on how what has helped organizations create this particular mindset, and how much of a crucial role does the leadership play in fostering this sort of a culture within a company?
Yes, I'm sure everybody have heard this, famous saying that, the culture eats, strategy for breakfast. So yes, as you rightly pointed, culture is very important. Be the culture of the organization is so important in delivering on your goals, objectives, and the strategy of your organization. It all starts with the tone at the top, and that does not happen magically. So there has to be an effort, by the risk professionals, by the security community, by the security team to so we always blame, our management, that, oh, I don't have a management support, oh, my management does not know, oh, our business, does not allow us to do. I think we as risk practitioners, GRC practitioners, security professionals are doing a bad job in educating our stakeholders in terms of what risks are associated. So if we start educating them, on the risks, and we tell them that how can this be solved, then yes, we will get a buy-in from the leadership. They will start setting the right example. They will, start supporting the security programs. They will start supporting the risk management programs, and then another way of getting tone at the top, or support from the management, is these certifications that you can, there are multiple certifications that allow you to demonstrate to your internal stakeholders and external stakeholders of how well you are, operating your security programs or risk management programs. Think of different perspectives. You as professional, you educate your, management. You try to bring in these programs that, kind of mandate for your management to have visibility and involvement in the programs. So it's a combination of two, three things, but the mindset of you leaving them to do some sort of research education on their own, and then you complaining that, oh, we don't get support from the management, I think is an outdated mindset, and this will not drive you forward. You need to show the management the benefits of, having a security culture, everybody, talking about security, everybody having that mindset of, is it the right thing to do? And then this will ultimately drive the organization forward towards the success.
Rightly said. I mean, there are a bunch of topics that we could continue conversation about, like maybe alert fatigue or probably, password hygiene and all of that. But I think everything just comes back to getting the right hygiene in place, especially on cybersecurity. So thanks for that. That was a very strong advice. Uh, a little departure from there. Uh, if you were to now that let's come back to you as such, and your area of expertise and your experience in this particular region. Uh, if there was an advice that you would want to give companies to bridge that gap between technical cybersecurity measures and employee engagement, what would that be?
Uh, Thank you for that question, Augustine. I think that's a wonderful question, and it is something very close to my heart. We have been, and I myself, including, this is something that I have learned over the time, uh, that I have been jumping into solutionizing the problems. Uh, we need to take a step back, identify what the actual problem is, and then take it forward from there. The solutions are there to help, but they will only help, if you define the problem well. So defining the problem well in a clear and concise language that your other stakeholders can understand is a problem half solved. And then from there you build processes. Once you have built the processes, then you use technologies, to automate the solution or scale the solution, but without having good understanding of the problem, and defining the solutions that is aligned with the stakeholders. It is more like, using a technology for garbage in, garbage out. So not jumping into technology, clear communication of the problem, defining the solution on paper, and then heading into technology. So that is what I would advise. And speak in the language that your stakeholders understand. If it is
True, true, true. I think
management,
the jargons, yes.
yes. So avoid technical jargons. You use the language of risk. This is what most of the CXOs, talk and communicate in. And an example here and there that is relatable to their business would help. If you give me an example of golf while I'm playing, maybe tennis, it may not help. So try to
Yes.
find an example that is relevant and speak the language that they speak in.
Well said. I mean, that's an incredibly good lesson. Could you just share a bunch of other lessons that you learned over your course of life that could be imbibed in upcoming cybersecurity professionals?
I have been using this example lately, so I think of myself as a bicycle with the front, wheel and a rear wheel. The rear wheel are my technical skills that gives me that push, to excel and to, generate the speed. On the other hand, my front wheel is my emotional skills and the soft skills, what people say. I think so they are not the soft skills are equally important in today's day and age. How you interact with people, how do you manage yourself, are you able to uh, kind of are you self-aware about your strengths, are you able to self-regulate, how do you connect with others, how do you build your social circles. The pace at which things are changing, and I'm sure you would agree, is incredible. You cannot catch up with everything, and which means that also you don't have an answer to each problem. But where do you get the answers from is something that you have to learn. So you build that ecosystem. So sometimes you might need support from your other team members. You need to, speak to them. Understand. Be more empathetic, have more empathy towards people, connect with them, understand their perspective. My perspective is not the only perspective. Your perspective is not the only perspective, right? So there is a whole bunch of world around us. So we need to understand their perspective, take it forward from there, balance the rear wheel, front wheel. Imagine in your head how it would look like, if one of the wheels is of a bigger size, and then take it forward from there. Be authentic, and you will reach where you aim to be.
For me, that's definitely a breath of fresh air because I have hardly spoken to anyone who's actually emphasizes on the need for good soft skills. I mean, it's always technical, it's always understanding the domain, it's always understanding how the threat landscape works. Well, definitely, so this was an important takeaway from this discussion because I genuinely feel that there is not much of an emphasis that has actually been put on the soft skills of a person, especially who is basically climbing up the ladder.
Yes, thank you. So one thing, again, I have recently realized, and I would strongly advise everybody, is think of yourself as a leader, in the space. It does not matter what your position is, so if you have that mindset of a leader, if you have a purpose within you, then and this purpose has to be bigger than money, title, and so on. It has to be within, so what you want to do, and then regardless of the space you operate in, whether you are a security professional, whether you are a finance professional, whether you are an HR guy or a marketing guy, as long as you have a purpose defined, which is bigger than the title and monetary value, you should be able to contribute and give back to the community.
Great, great. That's incredible. So I think this is the last question, and this is coming back to basically ending the circle. You are in the GRC, and how do you feel that this particular domain is going to evolve further? I mean, there are massive, maybe deterrents, maybe policies and other things that are now interfering. So, where does GRC stand in the next 5 years, and probably after that?
I see that this space is going to only grow. Your responsibility is going to increase with more and more advancement in the technology landscape. People will look at you to do the right, to advise them on doing the right thing. People want to do all sort of things, but is it the right thing to do? How does it align with your organizational strategy, vision, and mission. So again, I will go down to where I started. Completing the circle, the GRC. Governance, you tell people, how to steer forward, how to move forward. The risk, everything you do, everything we do these days has risk. How do we manage those risks? So they stay under our appetite, and the compliance. So you have to comply, whether these are regulations, whether these are expectations from your customers, whether these are legal obligations that you have with your suppliers. We talked about the supplier landscape. So yes, and this will just continue, whether it is in the space of security, whether it is in the space of privacy, whether it is in the space of AI, risk management. So again, these are your founding principles or founding, stones on which organizations will excel. And the function is here to stay. The technologies will help, and we as professionals need to ensure that we also continue upskilling ourselves in different domains and areas, and then we apply the principles of GRC.
Great. Love. Well, I think that's it. That's our time today, and I genuinely wish this was a long conversation. But anyways, it was great talking to you, and the feedback that you had was pretty not pertinent to what the industry right now needs. So thank you so much for your time. Is there any closing words that you want to end with?
No, thank you so much. You have been a great host, and I hope the audience will find it useful, and it's a privilege to be here. Thank you so much.
Great. Thank you. Thank you, Zahid.